Rock here again, cooking books. Still staying on the concept of nature versus nurture and debunking the genetic superiority and genetic inferiority, right? Complex and the philosophy that genes are superior to others. Bullshit. But let me just say this real quick. Think about I want to talk about the giraffes. Canthermex, Canthumerx, Canthermex. I think I'm pronouncing it right. But they're an extinct animals. They're extinct animals from which the giraffe evolved. Again, the Canthermex is an extinct animal from which the giraffe has its inception. So the giraffes evolved out of the Canthermex, right? And the right. So the Cantomex of we all know migration. Migration is the moving in of animals, right? And animals migrate. They move. They no immigration is the moving in. Migration is the moving out, right? So animals migrate. They move out of one ecology into another, right? And there could be a many of reasons why animals migrate from one ecology to the next. It could be acts of God, such as storms, floods, earthquakes, or it could be the presence of predators that weren't previously there. So predators could immigrate into the ecology, and other animals that are prey migrate out of, right? So it could be predators as well. And so if you research this, you'll see that over the millions and millions and millions of years, the Cantamax, they're vegetarians, right? So they eat vegetables. They're herbivores, right? So they're plant eaters. They have evolved long necks into what we call today giraffes over millions and millions and millions of years. And the reason for this is the migration, moving into other ecologies as a result of, like I said, prey predator relation dynamics or acts of God. So animals tend to migrate into other ecologies. Now, being herbivores, eating plants, and being vegetarians, moving into another ecology, their food might not necessarily be convenient for them, right? For them to reach or to get, to have access to. Maybe they were in an ecology where food was easy for them to reach. Now they're in another ecology where trees are higher, their plants now are outside of their reach. And as a result of that, over millions and millions of years, the Campanics passed on what's called the long gene, elongated gene. And over a period of time, right, millions and millions of years, we now have today what's called a giraffe. And it's a result of, again, evolution. And this mechanism in evolution is called natural selection. I mentioned in the last video. So natural selection doesn't favor a particular gene over another. What natural selection does, it picks the gene that is most suitable for the current climate that the species find itself in. I'll say that again, because the eugenicists that are out there, the Sangers, the people from that school of thought, the Galtons from that school of thought, superior, European superiority from that school of thought, will teach contrary, that it's nature, that we have better genes, we have better biology, so we're fit to survive, we're better survival of the fittest. But it's not so. It's completely misrepresentation of the facts. The facts are natural selection selects a species not based off superior or inferior genes, but rather what species is most suitable for the current climate. So if we're in a climate that is hot, and I represent a population, a genus, which is a group, a taxonomy, right? If I represent a taxonomy, which is a group, a species, I represent a taxonomy, and the climate that I am in is a climate that is hot, and as a result of migration because of prey predator dynamics or acts of God, I move into a climate that is now cold. And I'm keeping it very simple so that we can understand how natural selection works. I was in a hot climate, and my genetic makeup was suitable for that hot climate. Now I'm in a cold climate. My genetic makeup is no longer suitable for the climate that I currently find myself in. Over a period of time, throughout a period of time, years upon top of years, what will happen is as my I represent a group, as we begin to die out, the children, our progeny, right? My offspring will inherit the traits that are suitable for that new environment. Let me say it again. As my uh, generation begin to die out in this new environment that we find ourselves in, my offspring will inherit or develop traits that are suitable for the new climate. And that's how natural selection works. Natural selection selects the best genes that are suitable for the current climate and or conditions that a species finds itself in. So it's not about a superior or inferior gene, it's about the climate. And the climate will determine what gene are going to be passed on and what gene are going to die out. Meaning which species will live, which species will die, is based solely upon the current climate that the organism and or the species finds itself in, not necessarily a superior or an inferior gene. Because in other words, the genes that are suitable for the hot climate were not suitable for the cold climate. And should that cold climate revert back to the hot climate, the same would happen in reverse. So it all comes down to the climate, not necessarily the gene. So whichever gene is suitable to the current climate, that's the gene that will be preserved by natural selection. And that is a textbook definition of 101, basic, rudimentary, elementary explanation of how natural selection works. It has nothing to do with you being superior, me being inferior, or vice versa. It's what climate. What's superior in a hot climate is inferior in a cold climate. And what's inferior in a cold climate, what's superior in a hot climate is inferior in a cold climate. See what I'm saying? And what's superior in a cold climate is inferior in a hot climate. So again, it all depends on the environment the species finds itself in. And now the question now is this: how do a species know how to adapt to the environment? Well, this is very simple. Your cells, your cells have what's called cell mutation or cell morphology or cell or neuroplasticity, which is a adaptation or change of your cells. Well, how do your cells adapt? How do your cells change? Okay, we all have these gadgets today called cell phones. What do your cell phone do? Right? Your cell phones allow you to communicate. Right? You can communicate with multiple people. Right? A multitude of people. Right? You can communicate long distance, short distance. Up, down, left, right. You can call anybody anywhere. Right? Uh, the reason why your cell phone is called a cell phone is because as within, so without. Our cell phones are named after the cells in our body, and they function in the exact same way as the cells in our body. Cellular communication, if I say that to you right now, in natural three-dimensional thinking, you're going to think of your cell phone, cellular communication, and that's not a wrong thought. If I say cellular communication to you naturally, just randomly, first thing come to mind is your cell phone or a telephone, and that is a normal functioning thought. Outside of three-dimensional thinking, meaning you just get a little deeper with it, that's all that means, is cellular communication has its origin in your body. Your cells actually communicate with the environment, detect environmental signals, and adjust or adapt. That's the word we'll use, adaptation. That's the word used in evolution. So the cells in the animal's body actually communicate with the environment that the species finds itself in and adapt DNA accordingly and produce proteins accordingly and produce organs, tissues, molecules, mass accordingly. So that's an explanation of why a species can move into a certain climate and over a period of hundreds, centuries, maybe even thousands of years or millions of years. In the case of the giraffe, it took millions of years. So over a period of time, you'll notice that the Cantharmex has become or evolved into the giraffe. And the science behind that is what we just explained. Cells communicate with the current climate and adapt accordingly. Meaning, DNA is your DNA. The DNA of the species will create, manufacture, like I said, proteins, tissues, organs, mass, cells, other cells based off the environment. And this is how the giraffes got long necks. All right. Till next time. Y'all know what to do. Like it, share it, whatever. Subscribe to it. That's what I want you to do. Subscribe to my video and help me grow my page. All right. Till next time. I'm gonna keep bringing info. Peace.